dog maker. I'm a tool and die maker. That's my trade. Put myself through school. That's what I wanted to do, is make stuff. Of course, it goes into building race car stuff, because being financially challenged, you make a lot of my own parts and build my own stuff, and it kind of falls right in line with that. So because of that, it was my choice of career.
So where did you grow up, and what got you into racing?
Well, I was born in Helena, Arkansas. We didn't stay there a couple of years and moved to this piece of property I'm on now, and been here ever since. We moved here in '71, so mechanical things intrigued me when I was a kid. My dad did drag race, but not any that I can remember. It was before my time. Of course, antique cars and antique engines and toys and everything else had that mechanical aspect behind it. So when I got to where I could have my own vehicle, that's when the racing actually started. So learner's license at 15, and it was on. You know, I had a little orange Studebaker pickup that I actually hauled hay in when I was a kid in school, and called it the hay hauler, and it got the name of what my dad called his original dragster back in the early '60s, which was nothing but trouble. So it lived up to his name. It kept me in a lot of trouble. It started out as an original rig that turned around and went to a small block Chrysler and pulled a Studebaker engine out of it. And next thing you know, it had 2 4s and went to spraying the little small block. And of course, it wasn't enough. We put a big block Chevrolet in it that a buddy of mine had, and put 3 kits of spray on it under the intake, all hidden up. And man, we would street race late in the night. And Dad always had a curfew on me, you know, midnight. I tried to make it by midnight, but most time it's 30 minutes to an hour late. But I come home, try to sneak through the house. Dad had to walk by Dad's bedroom, of course, you know, and one of those deals that he'd always be awake. And he said, "Boy, you getting any trouble tonight?" "No, sir," you know. He knew. He knew where I was at all times. He knew how to find me because he had a scanner. And the police was always called where he was out street racing somewhere, you know. And he'd ask if I got busted, you know, or pulled over. And of course, it was one of them deals we played it smart. 1 and done, maybe 2 and done, moved to a new spot, kept the cops a moving. Never once got in trouble back in those days, but he always kept tabs on me. So it was nice to know he knew what I was doing. I didn't have to lie to him about what I was doing, but still yet watchful eye of Mom and Dad.
So since growing up, you know, is there anything else in your racing career that's really stood out? Any accomplishments?
You know, accomplishments are what people make of them. My accomplishments is personal best. I can remember when I thought I was tearing up the strip over Carlisle, running a 1/4 mile, and you know, I thought I was doing something in the 13-second zone with old pickup of mine. At that time, it was something for a teenage kid to have something that fast, and it was average, maybe a little above average. And you know, it was one of them deals when I first got into the 5-second zone. And the 1/8 of a mile was really a big milestone for me. It was like, you know, unreal. And to be able to accomplish that in the early '90s was really something that was, you know, put me on the map around these parts. And we pushed the old truck itself to finally get down into the 5 teams. And it was something to see that old truck run, because it was a handful. It set up high. It, of course, had way more power with the Blown Hemi combo down in it than probably was safe, and only had a cage that was legal to a 750, you know, because what I built to put in it, because back I'd ever dreamed of being able to run close to 4-second zone with it. I always made a comment that it was funny that the way he drove that thing was like a sprint car, elbows out, looking over my right shoulder, because it did everything but go straight. But because of the attitude that the truck had and being a handful, it's really made me a aware street racer, because back in everything was no prep. Yeah, I, of course, had a little bit on the starting line, but on down, everything was no prep. And we was trying to throw 1,500 horse back in on that on the old truck, and it cut the tires loose, and we'd smoke them out the back and just steer and run sideways across the finish line. So I contribute that old truck being where I'm at today, being able to handle 3,000 horsepower on the street and doing some crazy stuff. Everybody's seen me in and out of ditches, and but you know, the outlaw in me, I guess I should say, there's that outlaw side of everybody, and I love the outlaw aspect. Street racing, I can't explain it. If you haven't done it, you probably don't understand it. It's being able to go out and do what can't be done, crazy combinations, running way too fast. I suggest nobody do it. It's not safe, but it's addictive. You know, it's I guess like picking up a cigarette, maybe, I don't know. But I enjoy the cash days. The old truck had a brake failure down at Prescott, and we was, of course, in the 520 range at that time, and not realizing it had a brake failure, it rolled off the starting line. I've always been clutch. I always had a 3-pedal racer until 2005. I went to a converter, but before then I always had a clutch. So line lock was very important to keep it still. Pulled up, put it in the beams, high-sided the throttle on that thing, and it rolled through. Well, I mean, of course, you're done.
Right.
Well, good buddy of mine was beside me. I wanted him to get a good time. I had had a line lock failure the weekend before and just assumed that's what had happened this time. So I throttled up, get on down the racetrack, not knowing I didn't have any brakes, that the brakes had actually failed. When I set the line lock, the push rod had bent, so I didn't get the right brake pressure. And because of that, it rolled. When I come off the brake pedal, the next time I stepped on it, of course, with the rod bent, the rod fell out of the master cylinder, and off the end of Prescott we went. And I yard darted that thing right off the highway. I mean, hell of a crash. Lucky to survive that one, but there's when the pink Outlaw Dart come about. It was Calico Cat, multicolored. I had built it as a Pro Street, turned around, changed it into a Outlaw 10.5 car from Pro Street, put the Blown Hemi combo down in it, and we really stepped up our program with the car because the truck was holding us back some. But that's how the Outlaw Dart came into the picture, and I didn't paint it peak till I LS swapped it and made it into a street car. I kept it, and I always say I was the originator of the junkyard look, because back in the early 2000s, you know, I had the car that was rusty and multicolored. I still this day don't care too much for paint. It doesn't make me any faster, so, you know, luckily the cars I've got had paint on them when I purchased them, so didn't have to put paint on them. And Dart was built as an Outlaw 10.5 back to the old rules, so because of that, come along the Demon. We needed something lightweight, competitive, and the Demon was a real nice car when I bought it, and we made some changes on it and dropped that Blown Hemi in it, and boy, we're having a blast with it now.
There, can you just go over the couple of cars that you've got now?
You know, I'll start off with the Demon. It's probably the one that's got me the most reputation here of late. 71 Dodge Demon. It's a real car. I'm actually the third owner of that car. The guy I bought it from took it from its stock condition into a race car. Raced against the car a lot back in the Outlaw 10.5 days. It had a pretty good history before I got it, and really nice guy. Wanted me to have the car and made it possible for me to be able to have that car. And of course, you know, I don't get rid of nothing, so because of that, the car's found its final destination here. I'll never sell it or get rid of it. Even if I wad it up, it's got a permanent home here somewhere. But I like my Mopar. It's different, and it may be why I like it as much as I do, because it's not the cookie cutter stuff that you see out there. Don't want to knock anybody's stuff, but I just like different. And of course, the Blown Hemi is a different combo, and that kept me going that way. And Lenco for a transmission behind it. I got a lot of ridicule back in the 90s when I bought my first Lenco. I didn't want to buy junk, so place up here in McCrory, Arkansas, Andy Pulley had a speed shop, fab shop. He was our local go-to guy for fabrication stuff, and told him, I said, I want to buy a new Lenco. And he was able to hook me up, him and his wife Lindy, and cost me $7,000. I can remember it to this day. And I sold a nice 72 Challenger that I had dropped a 340 in. I sold that little old Challenger to buy that Lenco, and everybody made fun. I put it behind a 318 Dodge. Everybody said, man, do you know how many 727s you can build for $7,000? And I said, yeah, I do, but you don't understand. I'm not going to stay with a 300 horse motor for the rest of my life. So, best advice I can give anybody, buy good race parts, because that Lenco I bought early 90s is in that red car. Wow. Still to this day, I'm running that same transmission. Best investment probably I've ever spent, because it's still with me to this day, and I have beaten and tortured. Sure, it's had a clutch or two or a sprag or two, but good parts last with you. Buy good parts. They'll last, no doubt. The little old pink Dart, it's the one I like basically pissing people off with. I LS swapped it. Mainly because LS is cheap. I had the LS combo laying around the shop. So because of that, I throwed it in there. People really, the Mopar purist world hates the cowl hood. They think the cowl hood's a Chevrolet thing, and of course cowl hood on a Mopar is sacrilegious, you know. And then I turn around and put a LS in it. I've been kicked out of good Mopar groups because they find out I've got an LS in my Mopar, you know, and I just laugh. And it's got to be such a joke now that, you know, I'll even post pictures of the LS combo in the little old pink Dart, just because I know there's somebody out there just cringing. I mean, they don't understand. It's a gearhead thing. But, you know, a lot of people, they really don't get all bent out of shape like the Mopar guys do. They really get bent out of shape. But, of course, the Lenco deal, I'm a Lenco man, so here we go. I got a converter and Lenco behind the LS combo in my Dart. It was my early 2000 Outlaw 10.5 car, so it's a real car. And I turned it back into this street car with the LS. You can't get rid of old street race cars anyway, you know, they ain't worth nothing, so you might as well keep them and make them into something to enjoy. So 20-gallon fuel cell and the LS, and you know, you can run 87 octane that thing. You keep the boost controller turned off and don't make any boost, and just drive the wheels off of it, and you get ready to race and carry on. We'll dump a 87 out, put some good old C16 in it, flip the boost controller on, go 30 pounds of boost, and hang on. I mean, that LS is amazing. New car coming up. I've got the little old green duster I call the Tasmanian Devil duster, you know. Tasmanian Devil because, you know, I got the sexy redhead demon. Now I got the demon spawn, I guess, of the Devil Duster. Little old Duster's got a small block going in it. First gen style small block Chrysler. Yeah, I'm sure all the people I've pissed off are going to be happy to hear that it's got a Chrysler Power in it. Really plan on probably putting a Lenco behind it because I just like the Lenco. It holds up good and good combination. You don't have to worry about it, you know. But it's set for a Gen 3 Hemi combo. I'm gathering pieces, getting close to actually having a Gen 3 Hemi to put down in it, and I really think the Gen 3 Hemi is the compatible motor to the LS. Aftermarket hadn't caught on, and of course you got to pay the Mopar tax to be Mopar, but I really believe the Gen 3 can run same power levels as what the LS will, and because of that, here we go. I wanted something different. I could put LS in it. I could put another Hemi in it, but I wanted something people don't see it. So the Gen 3 Hemi combo is what's slated to go permanently in it, but for now, because I spent all the money on this sexy redhead back here, it's high maintenance and takes all my money. Maybe by the end of next year, we'll be able to see a Gen 3 boosted combo down in the little green Duster and try our best to put it in the 4-second zone on leaf springs. It's a leaf spring car, and going to keep it leaf spring because of that. Puts it in a lot more combinations because, you know, it's still factory floor pans and wiring and glass and more of a car than a race car. So here we go. I'll be able to terrorize a different class and maybe show up and run 2 or 3 different classes. And I just... lifestyle, I guess. I've always raced, and I'm not ever going to quit racing. When you thank people, there's always a long list, and you hate to leave somebody out because you know, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings for not giving the credit due. So because of that, you know, the first and foremost is Mom and Dad. You know, Mom and Dad's done gone and passed. I wish they could see the accomplishments I've made in the last few years because, you know, my performance has really picked up, and the new car, they never got to see the Demon run. So because of that, you know, really wish they was here to see it, but they supported me. Mom, of course, my biggest supporter. She tried to make every race I went to, and whatever she could do to help me along the way, she did. And of course, Dad gave me the knowledge to be able to do the mechanic work, you know. Being able to build my own motors, build my own rear ends, build my own transmissions. That comes from Dad. You know, Dad was a mechanic. It turned into a postal carrier. But the early years of working beside him in our own personal shop, learning how to do stuff is the reason why I've got what I've got today. I couldn't afford to have what I got today if I paid somebody to build it for me. My financial situation is not that good, but because I've got skills, I can do my own stuff and learn from my own failures. So because of that, Mom and Dad is the biggest reason why I'm where I'm at today in racing. But, you know, I got a group of guys that go with me. They're die-hard racers. We'll load up noon Friday. We'll go to somewhere, Mexico, and race. We will not go to sleep. We will not stop pounding the road till usually we come back in 24 hours, and it'd be Saturday at noon. We've been out all night racing and carrying on and drive back, you know. Those guys are my ride or die, and Stacy Evans and Chris Marseille and Steve Nichols, they're the backbone of the Demon. Because, yeah, I can't run that car by myself. It's too much. It's so much, it's a mess on the street to try to run by yourself. So those guys, my ride and die, and definitely want to thank him, you know. Definitely, I couldn't do it without all the great people that back me and support me, and my fans that push me. Everybody has good and bad days. I've had my bad days and bad share, and because of that, you know, the fans push you to realize that, you know, there's somebody out there really watching the crazy stuff that I do. And because of that, I enjoy it. Fans have come out, and I've got grown-ups now that come to me and said, hey, you know, you remember I sat in your truck back 20 years ago. We was at the track, and Dad come up there, and I got to sit in your truck. And, you know, of course, I don't remember them, but, you know, it done something and made them a lifetime fan. And because of that, my fans are definitely helped me to get to this position, because I enjoy being an entertainer, because that's all I'm not a professional, right? I'm just an entertainer doing crazy stuff, no doubt. Hope y'all got a laugh, maybe a little insight to what it takes, and maybe how I tick and why I think like I think, because I'm a racer. You know, that's all I know is racing. I work to support my racing. Because of that, you know, maybe now y'all got a little better idea of why I do the things I do and crazy stuff that I do. But y'all definitely stay tuned to more great interviews coming. The Memphis 10 is definitely putting together some good racing. Definitely come out and watch the Memphis 10 do some crazy street racing stuff with all kinds of different cars, shapes, sizes, power. Memphis 10's putting on some good racing, so definitely keep up with Memphis 10, what's going on there. And click that subscribe button, you know, the little bell icon. Keep up with what's going on here, because this is something new and exciting. And you never know, liable to see me cleaning a ditch now and then, you know. I mean, there's definitely been those times, and maybe I can entertain y'all in the future.